the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me.
Hello, Miami. Thank you so much for watching 305 Sports Now. I am your host, Will, and I know it's like beating a dead horse, but I still want to talk about the game on Friday. Yes, I know I did a short, but I have to mention the game once again on Friday, as I've been able to kind of like compress a little bit about what's going on. I'm gonna give you guys an analysis, a little bit of what I thought happened as well with the personnel in the game and on the field. But I just want to say it was really, really tough. I was there Friday evening, and the atmosphere was amazing. The crowd was into it. It looked like it was going to be an upset. Sorry, not an upset. It looked like Miami was going to come back and win that football game 31 yards away. And then deflation, the interception heard around the world as Carson Beck throws his fourth and the worst interception of that game, in which Louisville comes up with a victory 24-21. Now, I have to give Louisville a lot of credit. Okay, a lot of credit. Coach Brom is should give a master class on how to scheme good teams. As I think this is his third team in the top 10 in Miami that Louisville defeats while he is the head coach. All right, I think he's got 5 overall, and he is just a dynamic play caller. I mean, he really, really is. So I was worried about giving that guy an extra week to prepare for us, because I felt like we were in for a fight. But I always thought that Miami's talent was a lot stronger than Louisville's. Even though I know Louisville had some ballers, and I thought their linebackers were really good as well. I thought overall we should be able to push them around based upon what I saw in previous games when I was looking at the video. But you know what? Every team in the ACC now sees Miami as their Super Bowl, and they're going to do whatever it takes to defeat the Hurricanes, including throw out 3 quarterbacks on one drive. That was absolutely insane what they did. But listen, the biggest concern were the turnovers. 4 turnovers, yes, okay. 4 turnovers did not hurt us in a sense that Louisville did not capitalize with points. However, it did take away possession from Miami and give the ball back to Louisville, and that's also a problem as well. So I just want to go over the stats a little bit. Of course, I created, my own stat sheet here on Copilot, and I just wanted to go over the game as well. Of course, the score was 24-21. Miami had a chance to win that football game or tie, and he just blew it. We'll go over what I thought towards the end there, as there are varying opinions, but in total yards, 367, 334, 4 turnovers, which was a dagger to 1 turnover for Louisville. Miami did get 7 points out of that turnover, but once again, 9 penalties, 67 yards. 3 or 4 of those penalties were absolute horse crap, as I personally felt that the referees messed up on a couple calls and missed a couple calls as well. Time of possession virtually even, as Miami had 28 and pretty much Louisville had 31. But much credit to Miller Moss. 23 of 37, 248, 2 touchdowns. Okay, 1 rushing touchdown included. Isaac Brown balled, man. 15 carries, 113 yards, 7.5 yards per carry, 1 fumble. And then Chris Bell, who I do believe, and the pundits are right, I believe is an NFL talent. 9 catches, 136 yards with 2 touchdowns. And then let's look at Miami stats. Mark Fletcher did not get the ball enough. 8 carries, 18 yards. Malachi Toney, 9 catches, balled out, 135 yards, had 1 rushing touchdown and a 2-point conversion pass for itself. Louisville just came out with the ball rolling, man. They held Miami to 63 yards of rushing, okay? Only Miami's strength is its running game, sets up its pass very well. Back-to-back weeks, Miami is held under 100 yards rushing. Florida State, I believe, was 97. Louisville, 63 yards. That is not going to win your football games if you are the Miami Hurricanes as well. And then, of course, you look at the chat. That's what the first down, we went through it all together as well. So I just want to, now I'm going to remove this from the screen. And I'm going to go over exactly what I thought about as far as the game went. And the talk of the town is Carson Beck. Right, rightfully so. One of the biggest things Georgia fans were telling Miami fans, he's going to break your heart. He's going to throw. And I'm like, listen, man, you guys had no receivers that could catch. Your offensive line was really bad that year. So those are things that I really want to take to account. But I will say this, though. I do feel like being down 14-0 And then later on in the second drive, if I'm not mistaken, in the first quarter, Miami being able, or at least on the second drive, being able to score so quickly was a blessing and a curse in disguise. And the reason why I say that is because I think that Carson Beck reverted back to who he was when he was playing for Georgia last year. And in many cases, Carson Beck felt that he had to be Superman and he had to do more than what he really needed to do. And I think that's what happened in the game. And I also do think the fact that we scored so quickly. I think Beck also felt like he could push the ball downfield and he was able to make plays and score on Louisville at will. But Louisville adjusted. Louisville came in with, I think, the eighth best pass defense in the country. I honestly thought it was overly inflated, but nonetheless, I was proven very much wrong. As every single chance they got, they ball hawked it and they got picks out of it as well, including again the fingertip interception that killed Miami at the end of the game. But Carson Beck tried doing way too much in that game, and it ended up hurting his team as well. He never looked comfortable. The offense stalled. It lulled a lot as well, and it didn't seem like we made adjustments to adjust Louisville's defense altogether. Okay, and Carson Beck, who was taking the checkdowns early on in the season, was not doing that this game. There were several occasions where guys were wide open, and Beck went deep or threw in the coverage, which led to those interceptions. He didn't have to do that, and I hope that's something that he does clean up for the Stanford game this upcoming Saturday night at 7 p.m., which is a good get right game at Hard Rock. But Stanford also upset Florida State over there at home, and so no win is a guarantee here in the ACC. Every game right now for Miami is like a playoff game. They need to treat every single team like they're playing Ohio State or Notre Dame. They cannot take any team lightly at this moment. But that's what reverting back to Carson Beck. That's what I think the issues were. Okay, as far as I think he felt he had to do too much, but he really didn't have to. Miami was still in the game. It was a relatively close game, and I'll get into defense in the next segment. But that's pretty much the way I felt. All right. Again, the stupid penalties as well. 9 penalties. They're gonna kill you every time, and I just don't think. I think Miami's much better than that. Miami has more talent than Louisville. The recruiting ranks show it. We saw how Miami played this year early on in the season. But again, you could have a lot of talent, but if they scheme well against you, you're in trouble. And Miami just got out schemed both on offense and on defense. Before I get into the defensive side of the ball, because I do have some comments to make about Corey Heatherman's team side of the ball, I want to give you guys a little bit of a message from our sponsor, Fan Outfitters. Ooh, Miami. I am proud to announce that Fan Outfitters is the official sponsor of 305 Sports Now. With locations in Pembroke Pines, Davie, and Kendall, you can find the latest gear and accessories for all your favorite South Florida teams. Teams like your Miami Hurricanes, your Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, Inter Miami, Miami Marlins, and many, many more. So if you ever find yourself in the Pembroke Pines area, Davie, or Kendall, please stop by Fan Outfitters, the official sponsor of 305 Sports Now. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the Kendall area, Davie area, or Pembroke Pines area, please pass by Fan Outfitters. Okay, if you want your Canes gear, if you want your Dolphin gear, if you want your Marlins gear, you want your Panthers gear, if you want your Inter Miami gear, whatever the case may be, please pass by at Fan Outfitters, the official sponsor of 305 Sports. Now I want to talk about Heatherman's defense. Okay, that is probably the worst game that Miami played on defense, and we only lost by 3 points. Miami got punched in the mouth early on by Louisville. And there was a lot of trickeration that went on with Louisville early on, as they were able to use 3 quarterbacks that pretty much flustered our defense early on in the game, and then they got a quick 14-0 lead, and I think that also bothered us a bit. But to Heatherman's defense credit, with the criticism that I'm about to lay down, they only allowed 10 points after the first quarter and gave the offense a lot of opportunities to win, including forcing that late turnover that put them pretty much on a short field, in which they scored a touchdown on the very next play, a la a jet sweep by Malachi Tony. So that's all. What about the defense really bothered me? Number one, I'm not upset. I heard some conversations this weekend about the fact that our defense is too simplified and stuff like that. I'm not upset because it's been working. And to tell you the truth, when Miami's defense tightened up and adjusted, it worked. Okay. The biggest concern I do have is that we didn't stop the run. Teams figured out you could run outside against us. Florida did it a little bit on that one drive that they did well in. Okay. And Isaac Brown killed us. Okay. That's the one thing. A lot of that also had to do with poor tackling as well. But Isaac Brown really, really, really killed us in the running game. So Louisville was able to figure out that if you run a little bit outside of Miami and you basically go at the lower body of our defenders, you could probably break a few runs. So just an example, they had a run on like 3rd and 10 and they got a first down. I don't think that's happened at all this year, where teams have tried fooling Miami on draw plays and they just get nowhere on 3rd and long. And Louisville did, I think, a couple times. So they were able to pretty much fool Miami at that capacity. Number two, right, as well, in terms of Chris Bell and Lacey, I didn't see them get jammed at all. Right. And Lacey, 6 foot, about 6'3", 220 pounds. That guy's an NFL talent, Chris Bell. And he destroyed our defensive back room. I mean, he had a very, very solid game, right? Very solid game, over 100 yards receiving. He just flat out balled. He absolutely balled, and he proved why he is possibly a first round pick in this upcoming NFL draft. And we didn't lay a hand on him. All right, we never ran him off his routes, which I think if we ran him off his route just a tad bit, would have given a little more time for guys like Bain and Mesidor or Blaze stuff to get home and Zach Moss. Moss is probably the most, how can I say this, unathletic quarterback in terms of being able to run and avoid pressure that we have faced all season. We have faced quarterbacks that are able to run and move out the pocket. Even the Bethune Cookman quarterback has more mobility than Miller Moss. And Miller Moss was able to sit in the pocket, was able to be athletic enough to extend some plays and made the right throws. And he was pretty good. Almost threw a couple of interceptions. There was one that Jacoby Thomas had that landed on the ground that could have been a pick. Probably could have been a pick. It would have set us up a real good field position. But the bottom line is though is that he was pretty comfortable, and even in plays that Miami was able to finally get on the punt, they kind of were able to move the ball better than we were. As a matter of fact, the Louisville offense looked more in sync even when they were punting than Miami's offense looked all night. So we'll say that as well. So credit to Heatherman's defense; they were able to only give up 10 points the rest of the game after getting hit with 2 early touchdowns. But the bottom line is, though, I would like to see us jam the receivers a little bit more or play a little bit of a zone man, all right, where you're kind of like pass the guy along, all right, just to make sure that there's a bit of a bump. So you bump him, and then in the drag route, somebody else bumps up. That way, he doesn't get a free release. That happened with Deuce Robinson in the Florida State comeback, where Xavier Lucas played 10 yards off the ball, maybe even more. And Deuce was able to get a first down on 3rd down, which could have gotten Florida State off the field, put our offense back on the field. We milk more clock, and Florida State doesn't get 22 points. That's the same thing happened as well. We did the same thing with Louisville, and we got burned. We got absolutely burned on a couple of occasions, including at a crucial time late in the game. So that's what I like to see, a change in the defense. I don't mind the simplification. We have the talent to get to the quarterback, but I do want to see some tweaks as far as maybe jamming the receivers a little bit more. Louisville's guys were up on us, man. Very few times that they gave us a cushion. They were up on us. I mean, they really were. And the proof was in the pudding. It felt like they weren't open at all, with the exception of a few checkdowns. Okay, as well. Changes on offense, I really want to see. I focused on Beck, and I think also going back to that last interception, Beck, if he would have thrown, I know Hoodie Girl hates the wide receiver screens. I don't mind them because when they work really well. I.e., the Florida State game, we were able to get a couple touchdowns off of them. So I just want to say that I do, if they're done right, they could work really well. On that play where Beck threw the last pick, you had CJ Daniels on the left hand side and Malachi Tony on the left hand side as well, playing the slot. There was about 10 yards of cushion the DBs gave those two receivers. What I would have done, I throw that screen to Malachi Tony. CJ Daniels could block. I may get a few yards, get out of bounds, and I'm closer, and I'm closer, and I'm closer. So that's what I thought. We set a couple timeouts as well, and that's what I would have done in that sequence. Beck again missed the check down opportunities, which led to those interceptions. But I will say this: I just felt last season, even with Tyler Van Dyke, our offense was a bit more open, all right, and had a bit more of a dynamic touch to it, all right, especially with Cam. I don't feel that this year. I feel like we do a lot of predictable run up the middles, okay, barely any outside runs, and we're tightening our formations on offense. I think we need to change that up a little bit. Look how nice that jet sweep looked. Louisville didn't see it coming. Look how nice that trick play with Malachi Tony looked. Louisville didn't see it coming. I think we need to focus more running outside. I love Jordan Lyle. Jordan Lyle was effective against Notre Dame until he got hurt. He's a talented back, but let's be honest, the running game has lulled since he came back. The 1-2 punch that's gotten you to where you are is Mark Fletcher and Marty Brown. You need to run with those horses. You need to run with those horses, and we definitely need okay, we definitely need to incorporate Jordan Lau under much better circumstance. And I honestly recommend we use Jordan more on outside runs. Maybe a two back set. You use him on outside run. Have Malachi Tony in motion. Incorporate more of the jet sweep into your offense as well to keep the defense somewhat honest. And that's what. And I think we should go more spread out. Even if you're bunch formations, spread them out a little bit more. I think spreading out the defense and not making them close in so early is a good thing for Miami, and it opened up the running lanes as well a little bit more if you're spreading out the DBs versus having everybody be bunch and the defense could collapse on the running game a little bit more. That's just me. Those are some of the tweaks I want to make. You don't want to overhaul the system completely because it just shows panic and it's not good for the players. It's not also good for the coaching staff. Just make some subtle changes. Some subtle changes. You're in ACC play now. Every game right now is a playoff game. Miami is in charge of their own destiny, so it's important that they don't have another hiccup. And guess what? It doesn't matter who you're playing. Open up that playbook and bury them. Okay, and bury them, humiliate them. Make sure that the committee that chooses for the playoffs sees that you made an improvement. That the Louisville game was just a hiccup. Louisville does this at least once a year, regardless, and you can get in. And let's hope we can go to the ACC championship game. Hopefully, a couple teams slip up because it looks like a Georgia Tech type of deal. So let's hope that happens. And Miami still is in destiny to be in the CFP. And once the CFP hits, if you're in, anything can happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you heard, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports Now. I am Will. Have a wonderful day. God bless. Go Canes. All about to you guys. Bye-bye.